Good morning, Cows Radio. It is 8:30 and you're listening to Inspiration and Information with Jen Julius. I have Marin here of Rise Up Goddess, and we're going to be talking all about how to embrace the spring equinox and really understand the energy that surrounds spring and how you can really maximize it. Marin, go ahead and say hi and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marin Bach-Antonson, and I am a transformational coach for emerging women on the rise who want to birth their soul-centered business. And my business is Rise Up Goddess, and I want to say happy spring.
Happy spring! I'm so excited that we get to do this on the day of spring equinox. This is amazing. Yeah. So thank you for being here, and especially this early too. So why don't we jump in? What do you really want to start off with sharing with everyone about? What is spring equinox? Why is it a big deal? What is it all about?
Yeah, so the first thing that I'll talk about is that spring equinox has a couple themes around it, and some of the most important, potent themes are fertility and rebirth and balance. And as far as what exactly spring equinox is, if you think of the solar cycle as a circle, spring equinox is what's called a cross-quarter point. From winter solstice to summer solstice is half of the year. Spring equinox is exactly half of that half. So it's the first quarter of the year. And what's so amazing about the earth cycles is that they are in perfect order, perfect balance. And so one fascinating thing about this day is that it is in absolute perfect balance itself, where day and night are exactly equal. And there's actually something that you can do.
Today?
That's today. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Day and night are exactly equal. And sometimes people do actual rituals. When I lived on the East Coast, it usually was in the late afternoon. So you'd have to Google what time the actual moment of spring equinox was here on the West Coast. Because if you stand an egg on its, put an egg on its head, sort of topsy-turvy, the egg actually will stand for a few minutes during the spring equinox. Whoa. Because the pull of the Earth's balance is such that its gravitational forces can actually make that egg stand on its head. So it's a fun, fascinating thing for spring equinox.
Yeah, that's pretty darn neat.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So I didn't realize that there was so much scientific stuff behind it as well, with the gravitational pull even shifting as well.
The Earth cycles are just like really incredible. From a mythology standpoint, spring equinox is all about, the goddesses Oster and Ostara. That's where we get Easter from. In the Greek traditions, it's Persephone. I don't know if you remember the myth about Demeter and Persephone, where Persephone, spent 6 months. She was taken by Hades, and she spent 6 months in the underworld. And the spring equinox is when she's reunited with her mother. And it's this idea, it's the mythology that the Greeks came up with about the rebirth of all of the flowers and the spring. It was as if Demeter, the earth mother, the Gaia, the goddess, was celebrating, the maiden's return. And it was this idea of rebirth, reblossoming, everything is okay now. And also from an actual scientific, perspective, actual reality perspective, it's the moment in time now where the light becomes a bigger force than the dark. Up to this point, so now the days are going to start to go, they're really going to start to get lighter and brighter. And it's as if we've won over the dark forces. But
Perfect.
This moment in time, spring equinox, is when the light and the dark are exactly equal. And that's why it's such a potent and powerful time to do a ritual. Because it's a time to set intentions, to soulfully choose the light, to move forward, to grow, to be in action, to create momentum. And during the show today, I'll be talking about different types of rituals that people can do on this day to really optimize the earth energy right now.
Perfect. So I'm wondering, which direction do you want to go? Do you want to jump into a ritual, or do you want to maybe explain? I know that you want to share a little bit more about kind of the history and understanding how a lot of tradition and, different cultural influences have tied into spring equinox as well.
Yeah, well, the I guess the place that I'll start with is one of the reasons why particularly women right now could benefit in an incredible way from aligning with this day. Since we went into the New World Age on December 2012, right?
The New World Age.
Yeah.
Oh, you might have to touch on that a little bit too.
Well, I'm sure that's old news for a lot of people. You know, it was, at the Solstice cross point, December 21st, 2012, when we moved into where the Mayan calendar ended, and a lot of people really believed that was the birth of the New World Age, and there was an incredible shift that happened. So with that understanding, a lot of people got incredibly conscious about a reawakening in something of culture, in a lot of paradigms that are old patriarchal paradigms really being dissolved, and that we are headed towards a rebirth of a new world age. And there's a lot of collective consciousness around that. And one of the things that's so exciting right now about the spring equinox is it's a time where all of that energy is coming to its momentum. And it's a time when the earth is literally blossoming into the full awakening of new life. So as the earth is rebirthing itself in its consciousness and its collective energy, so too can women. And there are so many women. These are the women, of course, that I work with. Women that feel an inner pull and an inner call to be leaders in the New World Age. There is something going on for them. They know there's a quickening, a pulse, an energy, a passion that is arising in them. And they don't exactly know maybe what it is. Some people do. There's a message that they feel are inside of them. And anybody listening, who you are one of these women. And it's a time literally when women are rebirthing and we're bringing forth the divine feminine energy as we rebirth ourselves. So spring equinox, being the time of rebirth on the planet, is a wonderful way to amplify the rebirth in oneself.
Got it. I'm really excited to hear more about this because it's something you already said about the importance of setting a really clear intention and really choosing the light moving into this season. Then kind of coupling that with the concept of also rebirthing, I'm really curious about hearing more about how all of those tie in together, and then how someone can really maximize, again, the energy that today holds around these concepts and around these practices, perhaps.
Well, the first thing that people might want to be conscious of today, if you do nothing else, just the consciousness of finding stability in present time. So people who find the stability in the present moment are the ones that are going to thrive.
Interesting.
Because it's a day of balance. It's a day when if you can recalibrate the inner energy and bring it into balance, you are going to thrive.
For more than just today?
Yes.
I mean, that's something I think that's good to actually clarify, because I mean, what it sounds like is the energy that is present today could actually be something that, if perhaps accessed or used correctly, could then have a bigger impact moving forward. Absolutely.
If you work with the energy today specifically, you can create what I think of like an image, like a ripple effect. You spark a light today and it creates something that is more lasting and impactful.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All the way until summer solstice, when we do our next interview about how to utilize that energy, right? Okay.
Yeah. So let me talk about that actually for a second. So from the winter solstice, the winter solstice was, we're still deep in the dark time. We're still deep in the womb of the earth, but we spark a thought. We spark a hope. We spark an intention of faith, knowing that eventually we will rise up out of this dark night, and there is the hope of, a new chapter. And now we've made it, and this is the new chapter. So as everything in the earth is literally being reborn again, the trees, the flowers, the sun, the air, the birds are coming back, the small land mammals are all giving birth. It is literally, that's what it is. It's a time of rebirth. It's a time of rejuvenation. It's a time of renewal. So there's a couple themes at spring solstice. Spring equinox. One of them is balance, right? Because today is the day when the earth is in balance, as I said. But then the other one is all about fertility, rebirth, and what the Catholics know as resurrection. All of our Catholic traditions are actually, they mirror a lot of these earth-based traditions. And Easter is a very obvious one. The rebirth of the earth, of the planet, of Gaia. And then we have, of course, the rebirth, the resurrection of Jesus. And Easter was named after the Germanic goddess of spring, Ostara, or Oster. So you can really see the connections there as, So we're all kind of celebrating the same thing, even though we don't necessarily think so. So what I want to put a disclaimer out is for anybody listening that doesn't feel like they are, pagan, so they don't want to celebrate spring equinox because that's a pagan ritual. Like, totally not. This is just like an every man's opportunity or every woman's opportunity to really just get on this amazing energy that is available right now. And again, Passover, Easter, you look at these other traditions, they all got it on that same energy too. Right. So we're all celebrating the same thing. And it's a wonderful reminder that we're all connected. We all have this deep well of understanding and are so deeply connected to the earth. Even though some people find their connection, not necessarily to the earth, but to religion, we all have this intuition where our cells, our blood, our bones, we remember these cycles and we have the natural inclination to want to celebrate them in our own way.
Absolutely.
But what's great about particularly today and doing this interview today is that today is the day that is the actual equinox.
Yeah.
So to do the work today is like so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah. Perfect. And thank you for clarifying that too, and really just explaining how there are so many similarities too, and how we have a lot of commonalities around so many of the things that so many of us believe in, and how intertwined a lot of these things can be.
I know, isn't it so sad? It's like there's so many, religion often differentiates, but then you look at these high holidays and you see so much of how there's actually so much connection.
Right.
And what a sad thing that religion is what's, pulling us apart when
in
actually
some cases,
it's so, you just look underneath the surface at these stories and at these myths and at where they come from and you see, no, we're all connected.
I think that that's becoming more and more clear as the energies, in my opinion, been shifting in the last few years, as we were just talking about, that people are realizing, I feel like more and more the connection that we have to one another, right? And to the world and to everything and everyone.
And that's part of the New World Age, the dissolving of difference, the dissolving of what separates. So that is something that is absolutely true, what you're saying. Yeah.
I also appreciate the reference back to winter solstice. Yes, I get confused with solstice and equinox.
Right.
Why are they called different things? Do you know that? Solstice and equinox?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
The solstices, represent the half wheels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And also the,
equinox, like equal? Like equal day
actually,
and night, maybe?
Thank you. That's probably true. That's a very logical.
Yeah, same. Sometimes my brain works.
Right.
But I appreciate it because I know that we also have on my YouTube channel, you can find, if you look up Jen Julius Coaching, you'll find the interview that I did with Marin about winter solstice, and then referencing kind of, I remember saying, don't try and do a whole bunch of stuff right now. Just kind of like allow things to maybe start to happen or to start to think about things. And as you were just describing, now things are actually birthing, like they're actually coming from maybe what was sparked, I think, as you said, on winter solstice. And as I was reflecting upon the last 3 months of my life, there's actually been a few really clear things that started shifting and were like kind of moving, shaking in the works. And then just in the last couple weeks or even days, really, boom, like here it is, things are changing, here we go, game time.
Yeah.
So it's even not, I guess maybe even for me, I'm a lot more aware and into this kind of stuff, but I would be curious if other people were to reflect, like, did you start to kind of feel a spark back in December? Did something start to shift for you? And then has something all of a sudden started to really come out to fruition or really happen perhaps recently or is starting to really happen right now?
If you think of it like a metaphor, winter is a time where the baby is gestating. The baby is still in the womb, but it's been fertilized. It's been, it's life is there. And now the baby is at the time where it's ready to actually like go from one stage within the womb, right? Within the soul, within the heart, and now be brought out. So it is a time of action. Yeah. It's a time of momentum. It's a time for really getting out there. And what's amazing is that you feel that. People have the natural tendency to do that. They think it's just because of the warm weather, but that's not true. It's because of the energetic forces. Everything now is pulling us to get back in action.
Got it. I totally can relate to that. Yeah. I even think on my mailer that I sent out this week, I'm just like, I just get so inspired and so pumped and so ready to go again.
That's what it is. It's like a refocusing, getting pumped.
Definitely some refocusing.
Yes.
And I need a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what I'm going to talk about today is 4 different ways that people can attune to the energy of spring equinox. And what I'm going to be talking about is things that you can do in your home.
Great.
Things that you can do for your actual self, for like body. Things that you can do, and 2 rituals. One of them is an outer ritual for your outer intentions, and one of them is a ritual that's more about your inner intentions.
Perfect. Do you want to start? I'm going to have to break in about 5 to 10 minutes just to do some announcements, but
yeah. So I'll start with one of the first rituals that a lot of people do, even without knowing that they're doing the ritual, which is, the age-old spring cleaning. Everybody has this tendency to want to do the spring cleaning where they want to wipe down their windows, they want to open up the windows, they want to air out the house. And what they might not realize that they're actually doing is they're releasing the old. They're releasing the stuck energy. They're sloughing off the winter and the dark time so that they can now move into this next chapter. Now, one of the ways that you can bring more consciousness to this is to actually do some space clearing in your house. So in addition to spring cleaning, which is terrific, space clearing is also super powerful, particularly on this day. The simplest way to do space clearing is to just go to a store and get some sage, some white sage, and sage particularly the corners in your home. Because if you look at principles of Feng Shui, the corners are where a lot of the energy actually gets stuck. And then once you do that and you clear the energy out, then if you want it, and that could be enough. If you wanted to just go ahead and bump it up a level, you go ahead and you take a high vibrational tool, something like a bell is perfect. Or those Tibetan gongs, or like a singing bowl or something like that. And
I'm trying to think, what do I have? Got a little gong.
Yeah, that would be perfect. And then you go around the house and you think about what it is you want to fill your house with. What type of energy? What's the quality of the energy that would really serve you and your great work, or really serve you and your highest good? So a simple one for a lot of people is just simply love. Filling the house with love. What better energy is there? Calm.
Maybe you have a high-stress job, but you want calm in your home.
Focus. Exactly right. Anything that would serve you to be the best you.
Yeah.
And then you go around the house and you ring the bell, particularly around the perimeter of the house and particularly in the corners. And every time that you ring that bell or chime that singing bowl, you imagine that you can put the intention all over the house.
Perfect.
And then another piece that you could do is in the center of your home, and you would figure out approximately where that would be. For 24 hours, you would put out a bowl with some salt water. And
what
the idea, sea salt.
Sea salt
would be perfect. Himalayan sea salt is probably optimal, but
Okay.
There's really what's great is that there's no hard and fast rules when it comes to ritual.
Well, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What if someone lives in, this would apply obviously to if you live in, we're saying home, or house. This would also apply if you live in an apartment or in a mobile home. Or
for sure.
But what if someone also maybe is in a dorm or rents a room in a house or an apartment? Would they then do this maybe just in their own room and find the center of their own room? Or
for sure, it's the center of your personal living space.
Your personal living space.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And you want to think about anything that you want to purify. And you could even write it down and put it under the bowl. And you leave the bowl out for 24 hours in the center of your home. And the idea here is that salt is a natural purifying agent.
Yes.
It draws out toxicity even from the body. So it's going to draw, again, principles of Feng Shui. Salt draws the energy in your home that are there and that are not purposeful or powerful or serving you. It draws it into the bowl, and then the next morning you would just go ahead and release the water to water. You could dump it in your toilet bowl. You could dump it in a river. You could dump it. You release water to water.
So then people could do this later today. And is it important though that it's a full 24 hours?
They could do it later today, and no, it's not necessarily important that it's a full 24 hours. The intention, whenever you do ritual, a rule of ritual is that if the intention is strong, the logistics don't matter as much.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, what does that mean?
So in other words, if your intention for the Purifying Bowl ritual is to, really just cleanse your house, purify the space, optimize the space, beautify the space, then that's enough.
Got it.
That's enough. It just has to be that you really that it's attuned to a higher good, that you're doing this so that you can function better, be a better person, be happier, have more focus. If you work at home, this is a great for women entrepreneurs in particular, or anybody who's an entrepreneur. If you work at home, I would say this ritual is almost essential.
Got it.
You really want to purify and, optimize today. It's a perfect day to do some space clearing.
Got it.
Because it's going to help you to function better, to work better, to have more clarity in your home, to be more inspired. If your house is heavy and cluttered and, and you've had the windows closed all winter, believe it or not, that can affect you and you can become uninspired in your own home.
Right.
Well,
it's just making me laugh because just over the weekend I started getting rid of some old stuff and really was consciously I need to do some letting go. So it's just interesting now hearing a lot of what you're saying, how that energy again was already starting to align really clearly.
Exactly. It makes perfect sense that you would have the instinct to do that now. And speaking of decluttering is another amazing thing that you can do today. I mean, any day really. Decluttering is so simple but so powerful. Whenever your house is cluttered, they say that your house is a mirror of your brain.
Right. I just said that yesterday, that your house or your room or your desk are all reflections, like cluttered desk, cluttered mind.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Scattered desk, scattered mind. Dirty desk, just dirty mind.
That's funny. So really taking the time to really understand how our surroundings and our space and our environment really do affect us.
Absolutely.
I mean, we already know that in the sense of behavior, what a child might see the people around them do is obviously going to affect them because they're being raised in a certain environment. Well, if we then look at it from even a basic level of even all the papers and boxes and crap in your room are probably going to affect you too, because that's your space, that's your environment, just like if you were, bad kind of gruesome example, but if you're living in a really dirty, gross, nasty, maybe there's lots of pets and bad smells and stuff in your house, that's going to obviously affect you too.
Right.
That's not a healthy environment. So really being conscientious around what space are you putting yourself in. And for me, I almost correct me if I'm wrong, but I really want to emphasize that in some ways our home, our space is really supposed to also be our safe space where, you know, we are coming back from maybe a really hard job or hard work or hard things that we're dealing with out in the world. And we really would like our home to be a safe space for us to maximize and utilize and being able to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely. Yes. I love to say your home is your sanctuary.
Yes.
And even if, you know, if you're a mom, if you're a full-time, you know, employee that doesn't get home till late at night, even if you just have one room in your home, like your bedroom, for example,
right.
If just even one room can be the space of sanctuary, then even that is fine.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that your whole house all the time has to be in perfect order. I mean, whose house is really?
Right.
Right? But the reason why you want to do this is because think about how good you feel after you clean your house.
Right.
And there it is.
Right.
Right? That's all. That's really all you need to say. How light, how you just feel good.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even really explain it. So now this is taking it to a whole nother level and bringing intention to it, clearing out the old, purifying the space. The other thing to do is bring spring in. Go to Trader Joe's, go to, you know,
That's so
places.
funny. I was just at Trader Joe's last night and I'm like, I really feel like I should buy some flowers right now.
Totally.
I'll have to go back today.
Go and like really set up one particular place, one flat surface in your home where you just fill it with flowers. That's a wonderful thing to do on Spring Equinox, where you're acknowledging the rebirth. And it's like a celebration. You're celebrating life. You're celebrating the ability to rejuvenate.
I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And, you know, again, if you want to do even a little bit more, you could go ahead and put on some gentle music and create a flower wreath or a flower mandala. That would be one space ritual that you can do. So after you purify, after you cleanse, after you do your sage, you can sit down, light a candle, and actually create some sort of an altar with all of your beautiful flowers, or a flower mandala or a flower wreath.
Cool.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do.
I would even think in the next few days, perhaps, because maybe if you're working today, you don't have time to do a lot of the cleaning we just talked about. I would think that maybe perhaps still doing that maybe this weekend would be pretty good too.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's absolutely true. I'm giving a lot of emphasis to this day, this day, this day. But a ritual can happen the day before and 2 days after.
Oh.
And it's still super powerful.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to write that down too. I've got all my notes.
Yeah. Of course, doing it today would be optimal, and I'll tell you why. Because there are so many other people around the planet that are celebrating equinox in their own way today. And for you to do your piece, your ritual, whatever you decide to do, you're literally tapping into the impact that everybody else is having.
Right.
Everybody else.
Kind of the collective consciousness.
Yeah,
the collective,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the day before and 2 days after are okay, but today is still the best for a lot of what we're talking about.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is, although I'm giving a lot of ideas today, you absolutely don't have to do all of them.
Right.
Choose one that works for you.
Right.
And that's it. And do it with gusto and with intention, and that's enough.
Perfect.
Yeah. And of course, if you want to do it all, go for it.
And I would even wonder, like, really pay attention to what feels right for you. I can't emphasize that enough. It's something that many of you know I talk about all the time, is the concept of individualism around, you know, self-care and health, but also the same thing applies here. If the sage just kind of, you hate the smell of sage, like that is not your thing, but you do have some bells and that sounded pretty cool going around bringing some bells, I would think that doing either is fine, right? It's whichever really resonates with you that you want to really utilize and maximize.
Absolutely. And what I just, mentioned was one way, super simple way of doing a space clearing. You can go ahead and Google, space clearing online and do your own version of a space clearing. But what I want to just say about it is it's a wonderful day to do any sort of space clearing that you might want to do. Even just cleaning your house with intention to get rid of, just to like cleanse. And what you're doing when you're cleaning your home is you're also doing self-care for yourself because it's literally a way to also cleanse your spirit.
right,
to cleanse your mind.
I'm getting so pumped to go clean my house. How weird is that? Like, oh, I can't wait. Yay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Because oftentimes, a lot of people do suffer, maybe not here on the West Coast, but, people suffer from seasonal depression disorder.
Seasonal affective disorder,
yeah.
SAD, yeah.
Yeah. And so what ends up happening is that there could be a lot of feelings that people have been struggling with and dancing with over the dark months. And now spring is an opportunity to really just cleanse yourself of that, to release that, let it go, know that it's in the past, and now you have this opportunity for this new chapter.
Right.
So the space clearing is one way of doing that. Another way of doing that is to honor the actual self and body. And a wonderful ritual to do is what's called a salt scrub or salt bath.
Oh.
So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can simply go into the shower. And I love lavender. I love working with lavender. So you can go and treat yourself to a little bottle of essential oil lavender at Whole Foods or one of the stores around you that might sell it. And you turn on your hot water in your shower. And then you go ahead and you put your drops of lavender in. That's going to release the scent. So now you have an aromatherapy shower. Okay. And now you're going to go into your shower with a little bowl of salt. And it could be Epsom salt. It could be a salt scrub from a special store. It's a really great day to go ahead and treat yourself even to like a yummy, delicious salt scrub from like a spa store or something like that. Or you could even get those at Target. And you go in and you're literally sloughing the body. And again, with the intention, much like you did in your home, you are releasing the old and preparing the body for the new, to step into this new time. And one of the things that I'll say about a salt scrub shower is that this is a very, very wonderful ritual to do, not just on spring equinox, but whenever you're about to birth a new change. So like if you're going to get married, on the morning of or the night before, to do a salt scrub as part of your preparation is wonderful.
Interesting.
Or if you're starting a new relationship,
right?
just in general, yes. Whenever you're moving towards rebirth in your life.
So maybe if it's like something that you're newly committing to, or something that is new in your life, that
a
you
new
really...
job that you're starting.
Got it.
A new relationship.
Well, you know what just popped into my head is actually people that are starting or maybe perhaps getting really serious about their journey in recovery, because I've also done a lot of work with addiction and codependency.
Yes.
So that's really just popped into my head as well. Also perhaps in that symbolic way of cleansing the body, even externally, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's a couple variations that you can do on the salt scrub shower. A lot of people don't necessarily have time, or they think that they don't have time to actually take a bath. So that's why I start with the idea of a shower. But if you really wanted to do a wonderful ritual tonight, you could go ahead and light some candles in your bathroom, fill your bathtub. You can actually do a detox bath, and this is going to be a little different than the actual salt. What you're going to do is you're going to do 2 cups of Epsom salt, about 1.5 cups of baking soda.
Whoa.
It's going to make the skin really nice and smooth.
Whoa.
You're going to add a little bit of powdered ginger or some ginger tea bags even.
What do you mean? What's powdered ginger?
Powdered ginger, just like the ginger that you would use in cooking.
For anyone that knows me, they're laughing right now because I don't cook. I actually needed assistance last night. I was trying to make, what did we make? We made asparagus, salmon, and rice, risotto, whatever. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that's like how bad I'm like, pans and which ones do I need? So when you say powdered ginger that you use to cook with,
yes,
I'm still giving
get
you
that
a
anywhere.
Stare. Or ginger tea bags too.
Or ginger tea bags.
How many?
Oh, you would probably use about 4 ginger tea bags for a nice full tub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not too many.
Okay.
Yeah, ginger's just a
pretty potent
herb. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go ahead and add whatever oils that you have. Again, lavender would be a great one to make it nice and relaxing and enjoyable.
Maybe a couple drops or
about maybe 2 to 4 drops of lavender.
Oh, that's
in a
it.
bath.
Okay.
That's it. Yep.
Wow. That's
Yep.
it's a lot of Epsom salt and a lot of baking soda, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But you would go ahead and you would submerge yourself into the bath and really just consciously think about what it is that you're releasing and take some deep breaths. And on every breath out, you know that you are cleansing the body of the things that you no longer need or want.
Oh my gosh. So I just got a super idea. So if you're listening right now and you want to do this, I'm wondering if this is so kind of super weird, but I don't care. What if you and some friends all did this at the same time, not together in the bathtub, but in your own separate homes? Is that also that kind of concept of group ritual? Would that make it even more powerful in a way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know we're talking about, again, the collective consciousness and the collective, concept of the collective community. So it just made me think, what if I could get 5 people together that at 6 o'clock we're all going to do our detox bath and our release work, would that...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Whenever you do...
If you're listening... Go to facebook.com/Jen Julius Coaching and let me know if you want to get in on this bath tonight. I'm serious. I'm going to totally do it. So now if certain people want to do it at a certain time, I'm totally down to help set that consciousness and... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Super
wonderful.
good idea. I love
wonderful. That. Yeah. And basically, it's a bath to prepare you for what's next.
Oh,
and I'm going to talk about...
I love it. I'm so excited.
I'm so glad. And then the other thing to add to the bath experience, if you have one or if you want to treat yourself to one, they're really good things to invest in, is an actual scrub body brush. So it's just a dry brush. After your bath, you go ahead, and tonight is a wonderful night to do it. You go ahead and do a full body brush where you're just sloughing off, dead skin cells physically, but just energy of that which you no longer need.
Should you also do, if you're doing the Epsom salt, baking soda, ginger, and lavender bath, should you also do a salt scrub when you kind of get out of the bath?
You can take some of the salt at the bottom of your bath when you're in the bath and actually scrub some of the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know
that would be a nice way to do that.
Do all of those, but then with the body brush, just use body wash, whatever.
Well, you don't actually need. So what you would do is you would dry yourself off.
Okay.
And then you would take one of those dry body brushes. You can get them at Whole Foods.
Oh.
Or at Target even. And you would go ahead and
do it.
Brush the
dry
body. Yes, on the dry body.
Are those the same as the ones that you would use in the shower? Just use them dry?
No, this is something different. A lot of times, when
those are real rough, I was like, wow, I couldn't imagine using that without soap.
Yeah.
That'd be really rough.
Yeah. No, so this is I think it's just called the body brush.
Huh.
And it almost looks like a hairbrush. The bristles are much softer than a hairbrush, though, and it's got
and probably softer than the brush I was thinking
stem.
about that you have in the shower.
Yeah,
with stiffer bristles.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, and those are great things to have. Whenever you do any sort of a juice fast or a cleanse, to do some body brushing during fasting times is a wonderful way to enhance your experience of the fast.
Are the next few weeks also good times to do cleanses with
Yes, for sure. Oh my goodness, for
sure. I was also just thinking about that last night.
For sure. Yeah. And there's so many different ways that you could do a cleanse.
Yeah, so many different types of cleanses.
So many different. You would just basically research it, find one that you like, ask somebody if they've ever done one before. My favorites, I've done many of them before. My favorites are the juice fasts, where it's fruit juice in the morning, vegetable juice in the afternoon, and in the evening, with some tea, some herbal tea. And for 3 days, you don't really need any more than that. 3 days with a post fast and a break fast after that of just really clean food to help balance your system. And it's a wonderful way to entry into spring.
So the combination of Epsom salt and baking soda, all that, it doesn't explode or something. It's totally safe. I'm just whoa, combining all those things sounds so freaky.
No, I've done it before. It's actually wonderful.
What if you have any cuts? Because I have a cut on my foot right now. What if you have any cuts or anything like that on your body?
Well, I suppose that the salt, you'd have to be careful with that with the salt.
Okay, so be cautious.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you're on fire, you're burning, just keep the cut limb maybe out of the bath a little bit.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Good. So we have to give some disclaimers, right? Oh no, I listened to Jen's radio show and then I caught in a burst into flames. I don't know. Cool. So, so let's talk a little bit more then. We have probably about 20 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more, to just talk a little bit more about what else can people do.
Okay, great.
We've talked about clearing the space.
Yes.
Talked about clearing the body kind of, right?
Yes,
Through the bath. Okay.
Exactly. Self-cleansing ritual. And so those are like simple things that you could do. So for those of, people that are out there that are actually really wanting to dive deep into ritual, what I'm going to talk about next is actual rituals that you can do that require, some elements and some things. The first one is what's called a seed ritual. And this is probably the most popular ritual that you can do around spring equinox. And it starts with the question that you want to ask yourself, and maybe meditate on this question a little bit. And the question is, what wants to grow? And what you're thinking about is really like, what ambitions are alive and inside of you? What dreams have you been holding in your heart, but maybe haven't given much attention to? And you think, well, later, or not right now, or I wish I could, but, and just to sit with those things and really hold them and ask, like, what is ready to grow? And if you do this in ritual space where you sit down and you consciously prepare the space, I'm going to tell you exactly how. And if you start with that question, I can almost guarantee you something will emerge as the thing to focus on.
What if you already kind of know? Like, what if you've got a few
You still want to ask yourself, because the mind may know, but it might not be where the intuitive sense, where the soul knows we need to be focusing on.
Interesting.
Right? Because the mind's got all sorts of ego. Well,
Sure,
I want to be successful in my business because I'm going to get a lot of money and I'm going to get really visible. And that's what the mind wants, right? But you want to ask yourself, what wants to grow? And that's why it's a question rather than what intention do I have? What dreams do I have? Which are all very mental questions.
Got it.
This is more of a question that does that have an answer? And if so, let that come from a really intuitive place. Okay. And so here are the things that you're going to need for this ritual. So you're going to need to set up some sort of an altar. And what I recommend for spring equinox rituals is a green cloth, because green represents life and new life.
Can they use a green towel if they don't have a cloth?
Sure, okay. Absolutely. Again,
I'm just trying to think for
no
people.
Rules,
I try to keep this. A lot of people know that with inspiration and information, I try to provide a lot of information for beginners.
Yeah.
For a lot of these ideas are totally new, to so many people. So I just want to keep asking, how can you make this work? I'm thinking, well, what if I don't have a green cloth? I don't have linen. I don't know.
Right. You can even take, I'm thinking of, this dark green wrap that I have. You could even use something like that. You could use a piece of clothing and just wrap it around a candle even, so that it looks, anything that is like something that beautifies the space. And what an altar is really, meant for is to ground you in the moment and help you to get out of regular space and bring you into sacred space.
Awesome.
Because it's within sacred space that these rituals can really make an impact and be potent.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then you want to have, what I would recommend optimally, it can be any candles, but if you're really going to go for it, pastel candles. So a green cloth and some pastel colored candles.
Pastel colored.
Yes. And again, you could buy those at the grocery store in the
white
aisle. White's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're also going to need a small clay pot that you can get at any garden center. Maybe probably have some of those out in your backyard or shed. Some soil and some seeds. And it could literally be dirt. It doesn't have to be potting soil. It can be dirt. And any kind of seed. Doesn't matter what the seeds are. Or if you really want to watch this grow, a spring bulb would also be wonderful.
A spring bulb?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so what you're going to do is you're going to give yourself at least a half hour, if not a little longer, maybe 45 minutes, where you're going to have some undisturbed time. A wonderful thing to do before you actually sit down to do the seed ritual would be to either cleanse the space with sage or to do some sort of that, a salt scrub.
Okay.
So you're preparing for it. It just makes it even that much more intentional for you. Okay.
Cool.
And then what you want to do is you want to create your altar. And what I would say is your green cloth, your candles, and any objects that represent you, any powerful objects, what I call power objects that really represent you It could be a piece of jewelry. It can be a statue. It can be a picture, and definitely some spring flowers or some spring blooms. That would be a great spring equinox altar.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, and then you want to go ahead and light your candle and sit in that quiet space of meditation. And if meditation is not your thing, again, you could just sit in just a couple minutes of quiet space. And what I would do even is set the timer on your phone and give yourself a minimum of at least 5 minutes to really sit in that space, asking the question, what wishes to be born? What wants to grow?
Wow.
Okay?
What wants to grow?
What wants to grow? Yep.
Can people do this if, like, this just sounds like too much preparation? Like, maybe they don't have the green cloth, or they don't want to go get the flowers, or they don't want to do the pot and the seed. Like, can they just consciously sit and just ask the question on their own?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. I'm giving you kind of like the full deluxe version.
And get crazy.
Yes.
Then awesome, you know.
Yes. If you like the idea of like actually doing a ritual today because of the spring equinox, then this is how you can do it. But for sure, you could take any little piece of
maybe some flowers and a candle.
100%.
Okay.
Yes. Want to give everybody permission to do this in whatever modified way works for them. It's still super, super potent. Again, as a reminder, it's the intention that makes the difference, not all of the fluff and stuff around you. Okay.
Got it.
But ritual tools help to amplify the intention. Right? That's why the Tibetan people have all of their different rituals, and they make the mandalas and they ring the bells. It's not because those things are sacred. It's because it helps people to access sacred space.
And I think that relates back to also the concepts. I mean, we have people really seem to value traditions.
Yes.
This is something very similar. Mm-hmm. You know, ritual and tradition, I feel like, go hand in hand in so many ways.
Absolutely.
Just like a Christmas tree.
That's exactly right.
That's a form of tradition/ritual in some ways, right?
Exactly.
Cool.
What ritual is doing is it's taking you out of regular life and it's marking time.
This is important. This is sacred. Like, that's kind of what it's doing, right?
Absolutely. And it also helps you to create rhythm within your year. So getting the, really committing to a spring equinox ritual every year is going to help you to get into the rhythms of these to get into the rhythms of the earth. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. And basically what you're doing when you say yes to giving yourself space to do a ritual is you're saying, I'm worth it. This is worth it. I'm going to take the time. Yeah. And so that's why I would say to just go for it and take that half hour, that 45 minutes, because it's a wonderful gift to yourself.
I want to reemphasize that I think sometimes that's just the best part of it, is recognizing for yourself that you're worth it, that you're important, that taking the time to do these kinds of things for yourself are almost not even important, but almost critical to our well-being in some ways. You know, self-care is so, so, so important to our overall well-being and health, period. Simple as that, you know?
Yeah. And I'm going to segue for a second, and I'm just going to say something quick about ritual, and then I'll come back to, doing this. Human beings need ritual. If you look at adolescence in other cultures, they create rituals and rites of passage for their adolescents.
Right.
Because they know that those adolescents are stepping into a new chapter of life. Yeah. Okay, so just like in spring equinox, we are stepping into a new chapter of the year. Okay? Every culture that creates rite of passage for their children, those cultures tend to have better balanced, more functional adults. Because the children have been witnessed and seen for the step that they're taking into adulthood.
Interesting.
In American culture, the children or teenagers, we do not have it in our culture to create ritual for them. And so what happens is they create their own.
Right.
And things like piercing and tattooing and graffiti and all of the, drug use and things like that. Oftentimes, you can track it back to kids who have a cellular need for ritual and rite of passage that they're not getting from the culture. And so they're creating it for themselves. They're proving to themselves that they are strong, that they are valuable, that they are brave. You know, why are so many teenage boys doing crazy things? Because there's this need to be seen in a way as men. And this is how they do it.
Interesting.
If we had a culture, like a lot of the tribal cultures, that gave them these opportunities, you know, I think I might have mentioned this. I don't remember if I mentioned it to you, Jen, or even on the radio show before, but one of a wonderful rite of passage that the Native Americans do is they create a vision quest for their adolescents. And it's scary. And they go off in the woods for 3 days. They have to survive. Oftentimes that they have to hunt, and they face their fear.
Yeah.
And from doing that, they know that they are brave, that they've done something. They feel that they've done something significant and important.
Right.
So they don't have to go out and do that outside of the structured ritual.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was just a little offset about the importance of ritual, and just coming back to the seed ritual. You would create your altar. Okay. You would, cleanse your space, maybe do that ritual bath, and then you would have your 5 minutes of tuning in, what wants to grow, and then you're going to write all of your different thoughts and ambitions on paper. You're going to take that paper, you're going to put a coin on top of the paper, okay, because prosperity, I believe, is always part of any wonderful growth. If we can just acknowledge the prosperity piece in it, then that makes it all the better. Okay. Because I really do believe that money is a sacred tool, right? So even if your intention is for a relationship, don't worry about it. Go ahead and place the coin on top of the paper. Okay. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to take your clay pot, and you're going to fill your clay pot with the soil. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to plant your seeds, and you're going to speak aloud. And this is the important piece. Even if you're by yourself, you're not doing this with other people, which, by the way, this would be a great ritual to do with other people. So you could witness each other and speak it to each other.
Interesting.
But even if you're not with anybody else, go ahead and speak the intentions aloud. It puts them out to the ether. It puts them out to the field of possibility in a way that is different than if you just think it.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So you're going to hold that pot, and you're really going to be thinking about what it is that you want to grow. And you're going to infuse that seed, that soil, and that pot with that incredible intention. And you're going to speak over the seeds, right? This is to bless the seeds, everything it is that wants to grow, that wants to be born. Right. Exactly right. Talk to the seeds, tell them what your hopes are, tell them what you want and why you want this manifestation. So if it's a relationship, for example, right, you want to get really specific about the kind of relationship, about exactly what it is that you're calling in, and why. That's the balance piece. This is not just for you. This is also for the balance of the earth. So I want a relationship in my life so that I can feel worthy and feel love. And I know that that love is just going to add to all of the goodness on the planet. And I'm going to be able to just like be more happy and more whole. And that's going to allow me to function better in all areas of my life. I'm going to be able to be happy for other people that are in a relationship and bless them and, root for them. And so you want to think about both, again, because it's the day of balance, thinking about how these intentions are good for you and also good for the whole.
Okay. Good for you and good for the whole. Got it.
Exactly right.
Great.
And then you just go ahead and you sit for a few moments and really think about what it is that that wants to grow. Okay. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to put your pot on your altar and let it be there for about a day, just on the altar space. And then taking the the pot and putting it in a spot that is sunny so that the seeds can actually begin to sprout. And I want to encourage everybody to connect with the clay pot every day until the summer solstice. Even if it's just in your visual space, much like a vision board would be, it's a reminder. It's an object that's a reminder of that which you're putting energy into. Okay. And you might even, what's great about the clay pots is you can write on them.
Oh.
So you can write some words.
Yeah.
You can actually write a sentence, a phrase, a quote, something that captures what it is that came up in that 5 minutes of quiet that was your intention for manifestation.
Can you write the actual intention itself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
And what I would recommend is writing the intention, not as a wish, but as a gratitude.
I'm so grateful that I have blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. I'm so grateful that this
something present
relationship.
tense, almost like an affirmation.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yep.
Excellent. So we talked about like a relationship example, but we could also, I mean, the same goes with a business example. Like about growing my business so I can help more people and, have a bigger impact on the world and be a bigger part of the consciousness shift,
Exactly.
And the alignment of whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So that's,
I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do so many of these things. Like how now I'm like, man, I better start. I'm going to be up all night doing rituals. Which is actually, should people, if they really are, should they do, if they have the ability, all of the things we're talking about, or is it more powerful to really choose two that resonate with you the most?
So I would say if I had to really narrow this down for everybody, probably the most powerful thing, all you need is an hour. Get some sage, cleanse your space, take that preparatory shower before your seed ritual. And I mean, what would that take? 10 minutes at the most, right? And then go ahead and sit down and do the ritual, which will only take, maybe 15 or 20 minutes or something. And if you do those three things in succession, you've got a great repertoire for like a wonderful spring equinox celebration for yourself.
But if they want to do everything, they can too.
Of course.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's not that doing, cause sometimes I worry, like if we overdo, then sometimes we lose kind of the emphasis or the focus. That's why I was kind of wondering, is it better to just pick and choose a couple, or is it okay to do everything?
No, it's totally
individual.
It's okay to do everything for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not going to be overdoing it.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're really focusing on different areas too and different aspects. So the home is outside of yourself. The bath and the salt cleanse would be something more for inside of yourself.
Got it.
The seed ritual is an outer manifestation. I'm about to give you another ritual that's about inner manifestation. Okay. So all of these things are different aspects. So you're not doing a million things for one intention. These are sort of different areas.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Inner manifestation now, right? Okay.
So this would be, so the seed ritual is to manifest in life outside of yourself. Okay. The awaken your power ritual is to really amplify something inside of yourself. And what, a great symbol to do this would be the egg. The egg, of course, is a symbol of fertility and for what is possible. It holds the possibility of life. And of course, eggs are, we know this just from Easter. The Christians adopted this wonderful symbol as a symbol for Easter. So this is a really, important symbol for this time. And dyeing eggs, believe it or not, although I think of dyeing eggs as like my, something I used to do as a kid.
Yeah.
But you could dye an egg specifically with intention for awakening your power. And I would recommend, if you're going to do this, to do it in red. So you dye an egg that is a deep red color.
Interesting.
And you're going to write on the egg that which is wanting to be amplified within you. And it's an aspect of you rather than a thing outside of yourself. It's an aspect of you that you want to amplify so that you can ... So let me give you an example. I want to amplify fortitude inside of me, or my strength, so that I can really face my fear of being super visible and super big in my business.
Got it.
Okay. So for the seed ritual, you're focusing more on the business. For the awaken your power ritual, it's for women that know that actually nothing is in the way except for themselves. So if women that are listening, if they know that, then the awaken your power ritual is probably the more potent or powerful one for them to do.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. And so what it is that you want to think of is that part of you that wants to be amplified. Okay. And again, spending that 5 minutes and thinking about which one. I always go by the age-old rule of everything you need to know is inside of you. So if you just take the time to listen, it will be revealed. Okay. So maybe it's self-love. Maybe it's self-worthiness. Maybe it's fortitude. Maybe it's courage. Maybe it's forgiveness for self. You'll be guided as to which one to focus on. And if it's one or two, that's totally fine too. And you might want to go ahead and take your egg. And the first thing would be, because you want to keep this egg and use it as an actual tool, is my grandmother actually taught me this. You take a little pin at the top of the egg and at the bottom of the egg, and you puncture the egg, and then you actually blow the contents of the egg out, right? A lot of people probably have done this for their Easter rituals.
Yeah.
And so then you just got the egg shell that you can work with. You would go ahead and you would either paint that red or use some red dye, and then go ahead and write on the actual egg what it is that is the power that wants to be amplified. Okay?
All right.
And you want to imagine that egg is like the part of you that maybe has not been fully realized yet, but that you know is inside of you. Okay. And what you want to do for this particular ritual is you want to go ahead and create a circle. It can be a circle of stones. It can be a circle with some candles. It could be a circle of fabric, any kind of a circle that you'll be stepping into.
Okay.
Okay. And you want to take your egg, create your egg. That's your ritual object. Okay. And then go ahead and beautify your space, have some candles around, have some beautiful flowers, something like that, and create this circle on your floor. And you want to go ahead, I love doing this with music, just some soft music in the background, and you want to go ahead and consciously step forward into the circle. And when you step into the circle, you want to imagine that you're stepping into something of like a circle of power. A portal. And the moment that you get in that circle, it's as if someone took a dial and amplified the part of yourself that you're working with.
Cool.
So if it's self-love, then you step into the circle and you feel the total embodiment of self-love being amplified. And what would life look like if that part of you, if you had that totally realized, if that was part of your power? And you think about, people like Martin Luther King, like Marianne Williamson, like Gandhi, people that were so in their power. And when you're in your power, that's when you can amplify. That's when you rise above the reality and the regular stuff of life, and you can amplify your message out into the world. And so, particularly for women who know that is their trajectory, who know that they're being called for that, the Awaken Your Power ritual is an important one to do, particularly on this day. You step into that circle and you say yes to that part of yourself being fully realized, and thinking about what is your message? What is it that you want to birth in yourself so that you can bring this message out into the world? And you want to, maybe really allow this power to just resonate inside of you and flow in you for like a good solid 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Which is actually like a fairly long time, right?
Cool.
And then you're going to step out of your circle and you're going to find what I call a Spring Equinox celebration song. And that is any song that is special to you, that is a song that unleashes you. You know those songs? Like, I know for myself, I have a couple of those songs where I just listen to them and I'm like, my soul wants to dance, right? And you want to amp it up in your room, and you want to allow the power that you just tuned up, and you want to allow it to be unleashed. So you turn on your music and you just dance. And dancing is a form of ritual.
Yeah.
Dance, unleash, let your voice out, let your message come forth. Let yourself speak. Let yourself just say whatever it is that you would say. Imagine that you've got, a microphone to your tribe, to the planet, to your people. What is it that you would say? And you want to do it in a way where you're not thinking about it, but you're letting it come through.
Right.
You're letting it come through.
Right.
And particularly on this day, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing to do because the earth is supporting this incredible rebirth and rejuvenation inside of you. Right? And what you're doing is you're circulating the energy, basically. When you're dancing, when you're unleashing it all, you're circulating the energy and you're letting the good feelings flow. And once you do any of these rituals the next day, okay, because this is a time of balance, you want to go ahead and you want to bring yourself into gratitude. And the way that you can do this is I would recommend maybe baking something for a neighbor or bringing it to an old age home or putting a spring plant on someone's doorstep that you may not even know, total stranger, stick it on their doorstep. Go ahead and create my kids and I love this one. We create little flowers at Spring Equinox that we make out of construction paper, and my kids will write little quotes on them or little words like "be happy" or think good about yourself or little reminders. Cool. And we'll just go ahead and in a parking lot we'll just stick them on people's windshields. Oh. Yeah, super cute, right? And that's our little Spring Equinox
now
ritual.
Everyone knows who it is. Yeah, stuff on the windshield in this area.
Yeah, and the flowers, my daughter's really crafty, so she loves to make the flowers. But you can even just do hearts or circles. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But basically what it is you've done the ritual. You know from the ritual that everything is coming to you, and now you want to be in balance. You want to be in the energy flow of giving and receiving. And when you do that piece, it's an essential piece. If you're going to do any ritual, you're going to ask for anything, you got to give back. And these are ways to give back. And if that's too difficult, you can give back even by spending a whole day just thinking about texts you can write to friends. Hey, I'm thinking of you. I love you. Or giving compliments to people or giving smiles to anyone you see. But spend time giving back, consciously giving back, knowing that you are incredibly blessed during the ritual. Yes. And then the next day, now you balance the energy.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I want to just wrap up with some really super, super simple acts that people can do if they can't do any of the actual rituals.
Okay.
A simple act done with intention and heart is enough. So a silent gratitude walk in nature, gathering with friends around a fire, creating any sort of an object with intention.
Oh.
Any of these things are a way to be super simple, but still get in on the energy that is Spring Equinox.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah. And just the mindset for today is releasing the old and knowing that you're moving into a new time, a new opportunity of rebirth, rejuvenation, and to honor yourself as a catalyst. To honor yourself as a catalyst of the divine. And that as you're doing the cleansing and you're letting it go, it's so that you can access even more love, even more inspiration, even more information about your path and your calling, even more power. It's that you're just opening the vessel that is you so that you can download even more from this beautiful, divine, incredible universe that we live in.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So thank you for allowing me to share all that.
Yes. No, thank you. I like that we've almost started our own little tradition now. You do realize I'm going to have you come for summer and autumn too, right? Right? Are you
I would be honored.
Perfect. So thank you for being here and sharing all of this. I hope everyone really got to here are some tools that they can perhaps use to really maximize the energy and just really also take some time for yourself. I mean, even if you think all of what we're talking about silly or whatever, go ahead and still do something just to take time for yourself, because honestly, that's one of the biggest and most impactful things you can do for your well-being and your health. And it's so important to know that if you're not doing well and healthy and taking care of yourself, you can't help anyone else either. So definitely make sure that you understand and honor yourself, understand the importance of honoring yourself today and always. So thank you for listening. Marin, how can people find out more information about you and what you do?
They can go onto riseupgoddess.com.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I've got a great free gift that they can sign up for there. And like I said, I work mostly with visionary women entrepreneurs, and I help them to awaken the goddess within, to amplify their power, and to birth their soul-centered business and vision so that they can be hugely impactful and prosperous in the world.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's always fun. Yeah. And you've been listening to Inspiration and Information with Jen Julius. So thank you for listening as always. And you can also find out more information about me, jenjulius.com or facebook.com/JenJuliusCoaching.